I will start the class today with the base pitch measurement, and after the base pitch, we'll try to see the profile checking. So we're not in a hurry, we're comfortable when compared to the other subjects. So myself will be taking classes up to Saturday, and next week full Chandragari will take whatever years left in comparators, and then we'll start alignment test. So shortly we'll be giving the first assignment also. We try to complete it in a week to 10 days time. So, and this base pitch is defined as the circular pitch of the tooth. So already I told you. So whenever you want to know the circular pitch, you cannot measure it directly. That's why you have to calculate the or know the base pitch by the formula or the base pitch measuring instrument. So the base pitch measuring instrument is known as the portable handheld base pitch measuring instrument. We have that diagram beneath. So here you try to see this figure. AB represents the position of a gear base circle. Okay, AB, position of a gear base circle. So here we are trying to draw CD and EF. They are the sides of the tooth. And whenever you try to see, the sides of the tooth will be contacting at the points F and D. So FD here is the base pitch. FD here is the base pitch. So here, from the property of involutes, if any line, this you have to draw any line GH. So the construction part I'm telling you, you try to draw a GH, it is drawn to cut the involutes, because EF and CD are the what is that? CD and EF are the sides of the tooth. So whenever you are drawing any line GH, it will be cutting the involutes and tangential to the base circle. So as far as now, GH will be equal to FD. GH will be equal to FD. Therefore, what is the definition of base pitch? Base pitch can be defined as the linear distance between a pair of involutes. Linear distance between a pair of involutes measured along a common generator. Measured along a common generator. So what is the base circumference here? Base circumference. So what is circumference actually? 2 pi r, no? So the formula is 2 pi r. So base circumference is equal to 2 pi r, 2 pi rb, 2 pi rb. So rb is the base circle radius. So whenever you are trying to take the base pitch into consideration, you have to take it is a ratio of the base circumference by number of tooths. Same thing is applicable for the circular pitch also. That's what the formula. So what is phi? Phi, you know, it is a pressure angle. Phi is known as the pressure angle. Two common values of pressure angle are there: 14.5 degrees, 20 degrees. So what is RB? Is the pitch circle radius into cos phi. But what is pitch circle radius? It is the half of the pitch circle diameter. Half of pitch circle diameter. So you try to have the base pitch as 2 pi by n. What is RB? RB is given as PCD by 2 into cos phi. PCD by 2 into cos phi. So you are left over with pi m cos phi. So you can directly write this as pi m cos phi. 2 will get cancelled, and you know the module definition, the pitch circle diameter by number of tooth. So you can take that as PCD by n as the module. 2 will get cancelled, and you are left over with pi m cos phi. So you have to know how to go for the derivations also. So not only by hearting the formulas, it's not enough. You have to know how you have got that formula. Even in labs, we try to provide you the formula for the calculations, just like measurement of radius of curvature or any other thing. The lab examiner, external examiner will be asking how you got this formula. So your background theory will be there. It will not be there in the manual. You have to search for standard textbooks like R.K. Jain and I.C. Gupta. That's what I want to tell you. So base pitch is given by pi m cos phi. So this is the distance between the tangents to the curved portions. So this is the distance between the tangents to the curved portions of any two adjacent teeth. So you have to take the adjacent teeth only for the pitch. It may be for the screw thread or the gear. You have to take the distance between the tangents to the curved portions between any two adjacent teeth. And it can be measured either with the height gauge, or you have to go for the projection of the teeth. So that is, we try to use the David Brown. It's not a spelling mistake, is that David Brown tangent micrometer, BROWN. So that is the thing you have to consider. So what is the base pitch measuring instrument? We try to just know the instrument first. Portable handheld base pitch measuring instrument. So we'll just try to come to the other David Brown or later. So here in this particular instrument, we have three tips. So just try to see what are the three tips. One is the sensitive tip. One is the sensitive tip. The other one is the, you can say, the one is the sensitive tip. The other one is the fixed measuring tip. Fixed measuring tip. And the fixed measuring tip is this one. Sensitive tip is this one. Fixed measuring tip. And the third one is known as the supplementary adjustable top. This is the adjustable guide stop. So here we have three tips. So what is the function of each and everything? We'll try to see. So here the sensitive tip portion can be adjusted by means of a screw, which is there at the left hand side of the instrument. So this screw is trying to adjust the position of the sensitive tip. Sensitive tip. So you know how the tips are conformed to the module of the teeth, module of a particular gear tooth module. So that is how you have to design the tip. Previously I told you that particular important point. So second one is the other tip. Okay, second one is the fixed measuring tip, you know. Third one is an adjustable guide stop. So its screw is also there at the right side. This screw is used to change the position of the adjustable stop. So anybody can ask, can raise a doubt, why you have to change the position of the adjustable stop. So this particular stop, so what is the function of this particular stop? It is for the stability of the instrument. It is meant for the stability of the instrument. That's why you have to adjust this position by a screw, this screw which is at the right side of the instrument. So inside the body of the instrument, we have a leverage system. We have a leverage system. So whenever we have a leverage system, you can say we have some small levers, a small gears, just like you try to assemble a watch and try to see. So we have a particular dial indicator on the top of the instrument. On the top of the instrument, we have a dial indicator. So that is a very important thing, because dial indicator, we can know the error in the base pitch. The error in the base pitch. So what you have to do, so first what you have to do, you try to take your drawing and try to identify in the drawing the base pitch value. Some value will be there. Suppose it is some 2.6 mm. So you try to take in the slip gauge box and try to take two slip gauges, 1.5 and 1.11. You won't have directly 2.6 mm slip gauge. So you try to take slip gauges and go for combination. You try to keep the slip gauges perpendicular to each other and try to wring the gauges. They are known as wringing. The combination, if you try to combine two slip gauges, is known as wringing. So what you try to do, the distance between this particular sensitive tip and the fixed measuring tip, you try to set that to the base pitch of the gear. Base pitch of the gear with the help of slip gauges. With the help of slip gauges. So you try to adjust that particular distance with the help of slip gauges. For example, I just given you an example of 2.6 mm. It may be any other value. You try to see the particular diagram related to the spur gear. So what is the base pitch value? Because whenever a gear is manufactured, you have to assess the quality of the gear and see that whether your gear has been manufactured to that particular value as per drawing. So after this, what you try to do, you have to go for setting of the instrument. So you try to offer all the tips, or you can say, in other words, the properly set up instrument, you have to apply to the gear you want to test for the base pitch. What you have to do, whenever the three tips, that is the sensitive tip is one, the second one is the fixed measuring tip, and the third one is the adjustable guide stop. What you have to do, all the three tips will contact the tooth profile. So that they should contact the tooth profile like this one, where they have to contact exactly at the, because you are measuring the base pitch exactly at the, just like the pitch point in case of a pitch circle. In case of the tooth thickness, you have to see that it is exactly touching at the points where the profile is there. So the sensitive tip is contacting at the base circle. This is somewhat nearer to the base circle, and this also there. So here he has shown like this, but all the three tips should contact the involute form of the teeth. Should contact the tooth profile of the teeth, tooth profile of the gear. So what you have to do, after all the three tips will contact at the tooth profile, you have to take the reading of the dial indicator. You have to take the reading on the dial gauge or the dial indicator. So you try to note down that reading, and this is the error in the base pitch. This is the error in the base pitch. So anybody can ask, sir has told you have to take at least 5 to 10 readings. Why you are satisfied with only one reading? It's not like that. You can try to change the position of the sensitive tip, and with respect to that position, you can just take at least 5 readings and try to take the average of them. That is one thing you have to keep in mind. Nobody will try to tell you in the textbook. It is only practical knowledge. So what you have to do, you have to see that the properly set up instrument, already I told you, the reading on the dial indicator is error in the base pitch. But what is the other method? The other method is not specified here. We just try to see. By using this particular base pitch measuring instrument, another method is there. You try to incorporate 2 dial gauges on the adjacent teeth. On the adjacent teeth of the spur gear. So with the gear, you have to see that the gear is mounted in between the centers. So you try to take a sine center and try to put dial gauges on the adjacent teeth with the gear mounted on its centers. So where you try to mount the gear, not in the air, you have to use some mandrel, a supporting device for that one. So already we have discussed that. We'll discuss that in the, what is that, Parkinson gait tester, when we discussed the how to go for run out, the total composite error and tooth-to-tooth composite error. So what you try to do now, after you try to put the 2 dial gauges on the adjacent teeth, what you try to do, the gear you have to index through successive pitches. You try to adjust the setting. So you have to index the gear through successive pitches until you get a constant reading on one of the dial gauges. Suppose you try to name the dial gauges as A and B. So after indexing the gear through successive pitches, you try to have a constant reading on dial A, or you try to have a constant reading or try to adjust the dial gauge reading on the dial gauge A to 0 or whatever, anything you can do. So whatever method I'm telling you, try to follow. So what you try to do on the second gauge, after indexing, after getting a constant reading on the dial gauge A, so any change in the reading on dial gauge B will indicate the pitch errors are present. So if you try to note down the reading on the dial gauge, that will be giving a direct reading of the error in the base pitch. So that's also there. So another, in the same method, you can alternatively follow this also. So the actual error, what you are calculating, you can detect that particular error from the individual reading on the dial gauge. So what you that's also there, but you will be confused. So that is the method you can try to use. So you try to index the gauge to successive pitches until you get a constant reading on the dial gauge A, and after that, what you try to do, you try to just note down the reading, because there will be change after indexing. There will be change in the reading on dial gauge B. So that indicates the error in the base pitch. So that is as simple as that one. So these are the two methods you can follow. So that is a very important parameter in the 9 parameters. The base pitch is also very important. After obtaining the base pitch, you, by trying to use the formula PB is equal to PC cos phi. What is PC? Circular pitch. Phi is the pressure angle. You can know the circular pitch also. So here, the base tangent method is also known as the David Brown tangent micrometer. So we, in this particular method, we have a span of a convenient number of teeth. We'll try to choose a span of convenient number of teeth with the help of the tangent micrometer. So it is known as the base tangent micrometer or the base tangent comparator. And because we are using a single vernier caliper there, single vernier caliper as far as this base tangent comparator, this has an advantage over the vernier gate tooth caliper method, because in the vernier gate tooth caliper method, already we have discussed in the tooth thickness, one of the methods, that is the caudal thickness method. Because we are having two vernier scales, there is a chance of error, the error creeping into that measurement. So because the measurements do not depend on two vernier readings, because if there is error in the horizontal vernier, it will reflect on the vertical vernier, and if there is error in the vertical vernier, there's a chance that you try to have in the horizontal vernier. So in the tooth thickness, what we have shown, that H value or D value we have calculated now, you try to adjust the position on the vertical vernier with the help of the value. You try to get the theoretical value, and afterwards at that particular position you have to measure the W, that is the gate tooth thickness. So that is the method already we have discussed. So here the measurements we are taking with the base tangent micrometer or the base tangent comparator, we are not taking into consideration the measuring jaws, because already that's a disadvantage or a limitation in the vernier caliper, already I told you, because you are measuring hundreds or thousands of components. There's a wear and tear of the measuring jaw, and you cannot rely on the measuring jaw of the vernier caliper, because time to time you have to go for calibration of the vernier caliper. Not only vernier caliper, the instruments you use in the industry to ensure the quality check of any particular standard mechanical component. Here we are taking the gear into consideration. So what you have to do, you just try to concentrate now here. So first of all, you have to take a constant generator. Here the constant generator is ABC. The constant generator is ABC. So what you have to do, you just try to see the diagram. So, and it is being rolled back and forth. So it will be just like a roller. It will be going forward and backward along a base circle. So this is the base circle. This is the base circle. What I'm just showing. This is the base circle. So this is the base circle. So it will be the particular ABC, that is this one roller, you can say, the straight generator. It is an edge, it's rolled back along the base circle. But you try to see this figure. So it ends up. So it will be ends up using involutes. Involutes will be formed A2, A2, A1. A2, A1 on either side of the base circle or either side of the gate tooth. The involutes will be forming opposed involutes. So A2, A1 and C2, CC1. So, and you have to have your measurements made across this opposite involutes. So whatever measurements you have to take in between A2, A1 and C2, CC1. So that you have to see, and by this particular figure, you can just try to just have a look at this one. So AC is equal to A1C1 is equal to A2C2 and equal to A0C0. So that's also, you can just have the particular value, because you can draw that and try to show it practically by the graphical method, and this will be equal to the arc length of the base circle between the origin of the two involutes, between the origin of these two involutes, the involute at the left and the right, the form of A2 AA1 and C2 CC1. So what is the value of the distance between these two opposed involutes? Why we are calling two opposed involutes? They are either side. They are on either side. So, or you have to take the dimensions for the parallel faces. That will be the distance around the base circle, where the particular corresponding tooth flanks will cut. Corresponding tooth flanks will cut. So that will be equal to ABC. That will be equal to ABC. That will be equal to ABC. B is a point on the base circle, and A is a point on the point on the involute, and C is also the point on the other involute. So whenever you want to derive it mathematically, so you just try to listen carefully. It is not important or unimportant. You can later decide by seeing that question papers what all the 9 parameters are equal. What are the methods he is asking regularly. So base pitch already we have covered. Don't worry about that. It's simple. Once you try to again practice at home, you can easily understand. So the angle between these particular points A and C on the pitch circle, A and C on the pitch circle, where the flanks, this is the flank of the involutes, this is the flank of the involutes. What is the flank? Actually, already I told you, it's a line joining the crest and the root. Crest will be the topmost portion of the tooth, tip of the tooth, and the root will be the bottom portion of the tooth. So the angle between these points A and C on the pitch circle, where the flanks of the opposite involute tooth of the gear cut this circle, it will be cutting this circle. So it can be calculated. Suppose the gears, whatever gear we are taking into consideration, it has n number of teeth. Okay, n is common standard notation NOT, and AC AC on the pitch circle corresponds to S number of teeth. AC will be having S number of teeth. So what is the distance AC? S minus half pitch. You try to just take into consideration this particular derivation, or S minus half pitch. So what is the angle subtended whenever you are taking the distance? Distance is different, maybe arc distance, but what is the angle subtended by AC? It is the angle, it is the distance AC into 2 pi by n. 2 pi by n. The 2 pi is nothing but the 2 pi into S minus half is the, you can say, by number of tooth. This in radians. So you know you have to, you know how to convert radians into degrees and degrees into radians. You have to know by this time. So what is the angle of arcs BE and BD? You just try to see what is the angle of arcs BE and BD. So here in the, you might have given somewhere, or somewhat they have missed this one. So what is BE and BD? BE and BD. So just try to see. This is also one of the method we are using for this particular method we are using for this setting of the base pitch by the base tangent micrometer or the David Brown tangent comparator. But the earlier method is as simple as that, because it is portable. It can be moved from one place to other, but it's not the case with the David Brown. It's not portable, so that you can just compare the two instruments. So just try to see this diagram also, because there's another slide. So just try to practice. So there's a distance between the angle of arcs B and BD. Already that involute function of the pressure angle we have derived fundamentally in the first class or second class. Delta is equal to tan phi minus phi. And what is the angle of arc BD? It is nothing but the angle subtended by AC, the angle subtended by AC plus twice into the involute function of the pressure angle. Twice into the involute pressure, the involute function of the pressure angle is delta is equal to tan phi minus phi. So here you have to take into consideration this one, and what is the BD now? BD is nothing but is the angle of arc BD into the base radius. But what is base radius? Is the pitch circle radius into cos phi. PP is equal to PC cos phi. No? Like that, we have RP is equal to RP cos phi. So what is angle of arc BD? It is S minus half into 2 pi n plus this value, this particular equation, plus 2 into tan of phi minus phi into RP cos phi. Because already I told you RB is equal to RP cos phi. You can write at the side of the brackets. So here we try to take into consideration what is RP. RP is Mn by 2. All this already we have discussed in the fundamentals. Mn by 2. So that is Mn by 2 into cos phi, and this is the bracketed value S minus half into 2 pi n plus this one. So you try to take the common terms here and readjust the terms so that you will get the final term as Nm cos phi. So you just try to have this as pi s by n by minus pi 2 by n. You just try to readjust these terms so that the final term will be this one. So already defined, what is this length of arc BD? So this is the length of arc BD is nothing but it is the distance between two opposed involutes. Two opposed involutes. You can see in the diagram below. Okay, BD is nothing but what is BD? BD is nothing but the length of arc BD is nothing but it's the distance between two opposed involutes that we have seen already in the earlier figure. So this is the final term you get, and you just write again readjust the term by taking tan phi minus phi as the first term minus pi by 2n plus pi s by n. So this is nothing but actually So whenever you are trying to have this particular term, that backlash allowance, we'll try to discuss the backlash whenever we have that, because for each and every parameter, there may be an allowance or tolerance. Just like whenever we discuss the profile tolerance, we try to discuss the K factor there. K is equal to m plus 0.1 into root over dp. So we have for all the grades of tolerance, uh, 12 grades, we have a profile tolerance for each grade. Profile tolerance for each grade. So that is a fundamental knowledge one should have whenever is designing the gears or whenever is working in the gear manufacturing industry, because now you are now only going for the metrology part as a curriculum you are reading here, but you have to go for practicals in the industry. So whenever you are taking that backlash allowance, it's specified normal to the tooth length. So you have to simply subtract that particular from this derived value, So you will get the actual value. So tables are also available like design data books. They give the value directly for the given values of S. What is S? Already we have seen. N, number of tooth, and M, the module. So this particular distance, whatever you are calculating, you have to set that after you try to subtract that allowance, that actual value, you try to set that in the David Brown tangent comparator. You try to set that in the instrument. All of you try to mute yourself. Don't try to disturb. You have to go for 100% concentration, because lot of disturbance only for 50% classes, and you are bound to get your result in 2 weeks time. By the end of Saturday, you can get final year 4-1 result, and next Saturday, seen in some of the JNT updates. So, same thing is repeated. You will try to repent whatever result you get in 4-1 or 3-1. Okay. So this particular distance, just like you're setting the slip gauge 2.6 value between the sensitive tip and the fixed measuring tip, this particular distance you have calculated, you are set in the David Brown tangent comparator with the help of slip gauges also, because you have to use the slip gauges for calibration and most of the lab purposes in the metrology lab. And this instrument also will be having the fixed anvil and a movable anvil, and because it is a comparator or a micrometer, already I told you. So there's a micrometer on the moving anvil side at the right side, and the fixed side will be left. There will be limited movement. There's a limited movement on either side of the setting. That's why there's a disadvantage of this particular David Brown comparator over the earlier instrument we have discussed. And this distance is adjusted by setting the fixed anvil at the desired place with the help of the locking ring, just like a screw we have at the portable handheld instrument at this left hand side. So the distance you have to adjust by setting the fixed anvil at the desired place with the help of the locking ring and setting tubes. All that you have in the lab. And then after setting, you try to offer that particular gear to that particular instrument and try to note down the reading in the micrometer. If it is a two-stage reading, it is simply like a 1 year caliper principle. Total reading is equal to main scale reading plus 1 year scale reading into coincidence, or three-stage reading we'll try to explain in the laboratory while you come afterwards. You can have the calibration, that is the two-stage reading with the help of the 0 to 25 mm micrometer. So that is there. So we don't discuss this one because if we try to discuss too much methods, you may get confused. Just try to, if you want, I can, but I know the particular what is important and not important, and you can just know that. Okay, so that is the thing. We'll just try to skip as of now. We'll try to go directly to the other method. We'll just try to see what are the things we can just have, because this is a PDF of the textbook. What is important and important, So we'll just try to analyze that because we are only going for the spur gear. Okay. So here in this particular profile tolerance, we try to continue. It's not finished in Thursday's class. So just try to have the introduction of this one. So base pitch we have completed. So second one is the checking of profile of this involute. So whatever profile, whether that involute profile is being generated as per the shape of the gear is concerned. So what is profile? Definition. Profile is the portion of the tooth flank between the outside circle or start at the tooth tip and the specified form circle of diameter. So you can see the profile for the optical projection method also. You have to compare the gear you have manufactured with the already the trace you have made on a you can say teledotus paper or some particular paper, thick paper of some gauge. అంటే ఉల్లిపార కాగితం అంతకు ముందు మీరు ట్రేస్ చేసేవారు డయాగ్రామ్స్. మీరు ఎక్కువ అదర్ మెథడ్స్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారు కదా డ్రాయింగ్ చేసేటప్పుడు. అది మనం క్లాస్లో మాట్లాడకూడదు. యాక్చువల్గా అంటే చాలామంది డ్రాయింగ్ ఫండమెంటల్స్ తెలియట్లేదు. సో ఇఫ్ యూ హ్యావ్ బీన్ సిన్సియర్ you will be knowing that, but the other methods the other people adopt just to submit the assignment in a few hours time. So that is not a good idea. So whenever we give an assignment, you try to write on your own by following different textbooks or the internet. Okay, so we'll share the PDF of the book also by this weekend, so that you can write from the RKGN or any other textbook. So what is the profile error? Profile error is nothing but it is the deviation of the actual tooth profile from the theoretical tooth profile. So whenever you are testing the profile, the tip relief and the tip relief is nothing but the tip of the tooth where you are having some relief, not having the sharpened tooth or not having a blunt tooth, just like a relief angle, and any portion of the tooth surface below the active profile. So you just try to see what is the tolerance on the profile error. So this table will try to help you. Already I just given an hint. I will try to discuss this particular table because it is important to have to, just like the 12 grades of surface roughness we have discussed earlier. As far as the accuracy class or grade of gear is concerned, we have 12 grades of class of gear is concerned. For each class, we have a profile tolerance in microns. 2 plus 0.06 into K. Here the table will be given, the design data books, it will be there in the gear manufacturing industry, and you have to calculate the profile tolerance. Anybody can ask what is K? K is nothing but it's a constant where K is given by m plus 0.1 into root over dp, where dp is the pitch circle diameter. So here the method of inspection of the tooth profile, we are using the dividing head and slip gauge, but we will skip this because this is a difficult method for you to understand. I will try to again in the next class I will try to discuss this. I'll try to extend this class in the next class by discussing the optical projection method. Optical projection method, we don't have to take much time because in this method, what you are doing, the profile of the gear under test, whatever you have manufactured, you have to magnify it by the optical means because you will be having the objective lens and the eye lens. You can see in the lab laboratory, you'll be having some 10x or 20x magnifications, and that particular gear profile you have manufactured is projected on the screen. So this particular projection of the gear profile on the test, you have to compare with the master gear. You have to compare with the master profile of the master gear you will be having with you, because that is a perfect gear you have already manufactured, and try to ascertain that as a master gauge, just like the master gauge we have discussed in the types of gauges, we have discussed in the different types of gauges. So that is very important. So the optical projection method of profile checking is very quick, and it is suitable for checking the profile of only small instrument gauge, or you can say small thin instrument gauge, not big gauge. You cannot measure big gauge profile by the optical projection method. You might have seen some of the particular gears in the watches you have disassembled. Whenever the watch is not used, you want to throw away, don't throw it. Just try to disassemble that and try to see that you have a small thin instrument gear in the watch also. So what is the K? K is a tolerance, and is given by K is equal to, you can say constant, but here he has given the tolerance K is equal to m plus 0.1 into root over d. dp I told you, this d is nothing but the pitch circle diameter. You have to put that subscript there. You have to put that subscript there. So that is very important. This is a theoretical discussion as far as the profile is concerned, but we'll just try to go to the next, where you can check it by the gear involute. I don't want to, you also to concentrate on the dividing head. You try to concentrate on the optical projection method and the profile checking by the involute measuring machine. So what is the principle of this measuring machine? We have to see. So you just try to take a straight edge. This is not there in this one. Yes, given the other way, you cannot understand also if I just try to say, but I'll just try to repeat this method afterwards. But now you just try to, so what is the principle of this machine? You try to take a straight edge, just like a scale with a definite thickness. You try to, how you try to make a straight edge? First you prepare the straight edge on the surface grinding machine on the lab with a definite amount of length and the thickness. Okay, just like a block, you can say, just like a rectangular block. So what you try to do with this straight edge, you try to roll around a base circle. So you just try to roll around a base circle of the gear without any slip motion. So here, what you are doing, you are taking the dial gauge here into consideration. So the stylus of the dial gauge, or the plunger of the dial gauge, you can say, that extended portion beneath the dial indicator is known as the stylus of the dial gauge, or the plunger of the dial gauge. So it will be attached to the straight edge. So it will be attached to the straight edge. So whenever it is rolling without any slipping, so that means it is, the straight edge will be traversing with a movement, or it will be moved. It will be moving without any, you can say, any disturbance, or you can say, any slipping. So in that condition, you can say your gear has been perfectly manufactured according to the true involute, So that is not possible in the practical sense. So in this, so it may be having some deviation. What I am telling, it's not that this method is not wrong or outdated. I'm telling that there may be some, just like profile tolerance error, there may be some errors or some method you want the gear, whatever you want to test, you try to hold it on a mandrel, So in a proper, you just try to see KL Narayana textbook also. You have this particular the method where the gear you want to test will be held in the mandrel, and how you try to take then you try to take a circular disc. You try to take grind a circular disc on the surface grinding machine, which is having a diameter. So you try to calculate the base circle diameter, and you try to have that circular disc which is having exactly the diameter of the base circle. So what you try to do, the straight edge of the instrument, then what you try to do, the whatever straight edge we have discussed before, you try to have the straight edge in contact with the base circle of the disc. Whatever disc you have we have made in the tool room on the surface grinding machine, the straight edge of that particular instrument, you have to make a contact with the base circle of the disc. So here what we mean is, so when the gear and the disc, whatever the circular disc are rotated, what will be happening is the straight edge will be the straight edge will be moving over the disc. The straight edge will be moving over the disc without any slip, without any slip. So what you do now, the stylus of that particular dial gauge, you should bring in contact with the tooth profile, with the tooth profile. So again, when the disc and gear are rotated, the stylus, whatever I told you, the stylus is also known as the plunger. The stylus will be moving over the tooth profile. The stylus will be moving over the tooth profile, and the whatever the deviations are there from the true involute profile, you can note down variations in the dial gauge reading by the dial gauge reading. Any variations is there, directly you can have your value in the dial gauge reading. So this method is very much important when we compare to the other method. The first method I skipped, it's not so accurate as the dividing head method. So this method is accurate and rapid also. You can have your profile check in a few minutes, and it can accurately, you can have the accuracy of this checking up to 2 microns, 0.002 microns. So that is how you can have the setting. The same you might have given here, but I want to just express my earlier knowledge as far as whatever the method I have just discussed is practically used in the industry, and in the same is reflected in IC Gupta also and KL Narayana. So sometimes we have to take whatever good method is there from different textbooks. Okay, so we'll end the particular the session now, because at 11 o'clock again you have another class. So if we try to continue also, we cannot complete the profile. We'll try to continue the profile checking tomorrow. We'll try to discuss tomorrow the tooth displacement method, and after that we'll try to go to the next quality parameter. It may be backlash or any other parameter. So my dear friends, again I'm repeating, principal sir has put a notice on Saturday. He wants the attendance of the people who are attending and the absentees also. Your CRs try to put in the group that strict action will be taken. Those who are not attending, and your marks will also be based not only on the assignments and the sessionals we try to conduct, will be on the attendance also. So just try to tell, because without you are not a academia to know yourself and be a scholar, because even a PhD we have to have a scholar, we have to have a guide. The BTech project we have to have a guide, MTech project also. So without the class teacher, you cannot learn anything, because it is a complex subject. This also you have to know the metrology of the standard mechanical components. Okay, different subjects you have. So you try to learn that also. Thank you for patient listening.